Good evening, friends. Captain Vijay here. I'm back with another live interview with a very special guest. He's my mentor. Okay, let me just get him on board. He's my mentor, my guru. Good evening, sir.
Very good evening to you, and thank you, Vijay. Very nice to see you this evening. Am I audible? I mean, I'm on a Bluetooth.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you loud. Yeah, I can hear you loud and
Good.
clear, sir.
Great, great.
Okay, let me start, sir.
Sure.
So, thank you so much, sir, for coming live on Instagram, taking out your time on a weekday. So, thank you very much for that. Okay, just waiting for some more viewers to join in, sir.
Sure, sure. Then viewers is all that we need because we need to percolate the information to everyone about the pilots and pilot age and everything, that we have. Thank you very much for your live initiative. I've seen some of your shows and I mean, I'm really impressed. You're a young master mariner taking interest in, creating this database and inviting people to share their experiences. You see, I mean, this will definitely create a kind of mentorship in the industry because the basis of mentorship in industry is to create a maritime character. And that maritime character creation is what is lacking today in today's day and age because the age is fast, technology is advancing, so nobody has time. I mean, I hardly see parents mentoring their children. Forget the fraternity, mentoring the future generations. So this is a very noble cause, and I would really appreciate your efforts and this kind of amount of time you're on vacation. It's really going to be a great thing in going ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Just in the evening, I had a nice session with second engineer Nari Nain. You must have heard about her. It was a great
I
session,
know, I know.
almost 1.5 hour session, and it was fun. And I mean, a lot of things she said, which will be very useful for the new aspiring female seafarers.
True, true, true. Absolutely. I mean, these experiences need to be shared. I mean, I still remember telling my stories to my cadets and officers when I was to maneuver, on the bridge, on the ship. So that didn't happen when I came ashore. So now with this medium, at least, it is happening. It's really great.
All
Excellent.
right, sir. So today, friends, we have Captain Gajajanan Karanjikar. He is the president of AIMPA, All India Marine Pilot Association, for people who don't know what AIMPA is. And he is also a master mariner. He is a multimodal transport expert. He is a member of HBR Advisory Council USA. He is a member of C2 Steering Committee, Port Business. He is a blue economy social activist. He is a writer, executive coach. He is a guest speaker. He is a metamorphosis leader as well. And other than this, he is my co-host in our talk show, Pilot Talks. Pilot Ki Baat.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
I requested him to come on Instagram as well because we do shows on the Zoom and then we upload it on the YouTube and AIMPA platforms. So with my special request, on a weekday, he took out his time. We were supposed to come yesterday, but there were some issues. So we have come back again. So hopefully a lot of young guys, especially most of the viewers are, I mean, they are from the cadet or the GP ratings. So they will also have a fair idea of the importance of pilot in our maritime industry. We always keep talking about seafarers as frontline warriors, which we are, no doubt about that. But nobody talks about the pilots because we will bring the ship from pilot station to pilot station. But after that, what? So can you just stress the importance of pilots in our maritime industry?
Oh, certainly. I mean, if you look at the port ecosystem, an entire port, as a management, the pilots are very important, and I essentially call them a very important cog in the wheel of the entire port ecosystem of Indian economy. I mean, ports are the part of Indian economy, and pilots are the very important part of the ports. So the role of a pilot is, of course, I mean, is cannot be undermined, for a simple reason that he is the one who's a local expert who holds master's hands and gets the vessel inside from the port. If you see the navigation perspective, as the vessel is coming from the deep sea and comes to a coastal navigation, and from coastal navigation to narrow channel, or you can say congested navigation, or port navigation, that changing of mode requires, having on board a local expert who has got the local knowledge. And this is how the introduction of pilot has been done. And the pilotage is a very old profession. I mean, Hooghly pilot is about 350 years old. So, and during British times, the entire pilotage was handled only. So, this was basically
Some network issue, sir? I can hear you. I can still hear you. Yes, sir. Okay. We can hear only Captain Vijay's voice. Guys, if you can hear me as well as Captain Gajanan, sir, please let us know. I can hear you loud and clear. I believe the viewers are not able to hear you. Okay. I can hear you. I can hear you. I don't know why the. Let me disconnect my Bluetooth. If that's the. Oh, okay. So can you hear me now? Okay, viewers, if you can hear us, please give a shout. अगर सुनाई दे रहा है मेरा और कैप्टन साहब का तो मैसेज में टाइप कर दो. प्रीति, इफ यू कैन हियर मी और कैप्टन गजानन सर तो बता देना टाइप करके. Can't hear Captain Gajanan sir. Okay. Can you hear me, guys? हाँ sir. I can hear you. Still not. No. Okay. मेरा आवाज सुनाई दे रहा है किसी को? Okay. Okay. No, we can't hear Captain Gajanan sir. No, we can continue, but then sir. I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. We can hear you clearly. How about, sir, if possible, I will just, if you can just rejoin, sir, rejoin the session. That worked during my last session. I'll yes, sir, you can, I'll give you a request again. Oh, wait a minute, sir. Okay, I've disconnected him and reconnecting. Hopefully it will work. Okay, sir.
Is it okay now? Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Preeti, if you can hear. Simran, Popeye the Sailor.
Can you hear me? No. Hello. You can hear
No,
me, Vijay, right?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, I believe.
Yeah, somebody said yes. I think
Yeah.
everybody is okay now. Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening to you. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now
All
it's
right, sir.
audible. Okay. Chalo, let's go.
Since we
Let's go
talked
ahead. I
about.
put my phone off and I put on Wi-Fi now, so I will not receive any calls.
So.
Okay, so
Coming
that's
to.
about role of pilots. Very important in the port. We spoke, and importantly, they are somehow the pilotage and pilot, as I said, act and the person who does that act are somehow neglected in the port ecosystem, and we need to bring in some visibility to them with respect to their jobs and dignity, and that's what the role of AIMPA is also. Tell me.
All right, sir. So we talked about the importance of pilots, sir. Now we'll just talk about a little bit about AIMPA because I'm sure many of the guys they know AIMPA exists, but what does AIMPA do? What's the AIMPA roles when it comes to our Indian maritime pilotage? If you can shed some information, sir.
Sure. My thoughts really trail back 1.5 years back, and when we envisaged to, form a AMPA, and unfortunately, it had to be an incident where in August 2019, one of our pilots, very senior pilot in Mumbai, Captain VP Gupta, he lost his life on the pilot ladder. And upon seeing the proceedings of the way the things were handled and, the way the maritime community was reacting to it, he being the senior pilot, I somehow felt there's a gap, there's a need, which needs to be addressed. And a group of mariners like us, I'm not a pilot myself, and I don't brag much about being the president of the AMPA, for a simple reason that this is a community service. This is a service of fraternity. This is a service of brotherhood. This is a service to hold somebody's hand and give him his rights. We're not talking about movement here or a union or association kind of thing. But somehow it was needed at that point in time that association Pan India is required to represent the pilots. At least somebody should talk about them. And I really happened to speak to many people that time. 150 people I spoke before I could form AMPA. I mean, some of the pilots who are there at the moment, one of them is the only lady pilot, Reshma Nirofal. I mean, we had numerous discussions on formation of AMPA, and it was really seen as a need of the hour. And I won't tell you lies that anonymously it was decided that we should form a AMPA, not only to do activism, but to create awareness in people. To create that, who's the pilot? First of all, let's start. I shot something like 8 or 9 videos of common people on the road, asking them who's the pilot. In Mumbai, in my place, in Nasik, in Chennai. And people would always refer to a pilot, as a pilot car, which goes ahead of minister's car. A pilot, airline pilot.
Aviation pilot.
In those 10-15 videos, nobody ever said about maritime pilot. And that shook me very much. That was the starting point, and then said, yes, we must bring in awareness, and we must. So when I spoke to a very senior person, one of the port chairmen, and he said that before you form an organization and do something, kind of a structured, kind of a thing, do some groundwork. Because this has to be run by pilot one day. Pilots should understand that they are being dignified now. They have been included into a mainstream of port ecosystem. So that's how the journey started of doing some work for pilots, taking up the issue with the administration, taking up the issue with the MOUs, taking the issues with the international bodies. And then the thought process, zeroed down of some mariners when we had a first meeting in December 2019 to form a motto of AIMPA as safety and security of pilots. Now, safety does mean that pilot embarkation, disembarkation, and safety of navigation in port, including harborfront safety matters. And then security being the, when the pilot faces the eventuality of an accident, how is he secured? How are you respecting him? How is the family welfare taken care of? This is how the safety and security motto was formed. And some of the very renowned pilots in India, harbor masters and dock masters, were involved in this decision. And excellent. I mean, the way it went on, and enthusiasm that the initial body which was formed, they showed, was tremendous. But the pilots, a lot of people ask me, why are you doing it? Why is Captain Gajajanan doing it? What is the need for you to do it? Then I did some studies, and then I found some couple of, attempts earlier made. The latest one was 1984, when somebody tried to form a pilot organization. It miserably failed because no pilot would come forthwith to form it. The root cause of this was that they're all government employees. They're all employed by the port, and somehow it was not coming into their preview of forming an association, doing some activism, asking for some safety rights. Then I said, okay, let it be a fearless mariner like me, working for them, because they need to be protected. Unless somebody really starts somewhere, it will not start. Look, when Tilak started the formation of freedom fighting movement, way back when the Britishers were there. So somebody had to really put the hands inside the dirt and start cleaning it, And this is how the AIMPA started. And so far we have covered a lot of ground, but a lot is still to go. At least now we are in the limelight, or we are in consideration of thought process of government. We've been asked questions, we've been asked opinions, we've been asked to endorse equipments, and that is a lot of ground. God knows who was doing that before. So it has somehow started, and it has been noticed by the administration as well. And I'm very thankful to the entire fraternity that fraternity took this not as activism, not as a movement, but fraternity took this as a cause worth fighting for, cause worth living to. A lot of people told me, you have found your vocation, Captain, you can retire now and do this job as full time. Of course, I've got a family also, which I need to feed, so I need to do, professionally work somewhere. But having said that, every mariner, this is what lacks in our mariner fraternity, that we don't give a hoots to the social community, to social cause. I always compare maritime professions as doctor's profession. See, there's so much of solidarity in doctor's profession. Something goes wrong with doctors, the pan-India doctors will get together. The different Indian medical associations, different parts of the, states and cities, they will all come together and put across their views to the Ministry of Health. Do we do that? Do as maritime fraternity, we do that to ourselves? No. Because we are very fragmented. We are very standalone kind of guys. We only manage our shifts and that's it. And we come back home and then we want to spend our time with family. Why I'm very happy with you, because you're also on leave after doing a strenuous job of 4-5 months as captain. Okay, I understand you're your first ship. But you are spending this time which is supposed to be devoted to family, to communities, to create some knowledge, to create some awareness. And that is what requires to be done. And this has to be done only by example. No book reading, no Peter Drucker can come and explain us what is the shipping management and shipping community management is. No management guru can come down from the heaven and tell us this, or from Oxford and Harvard can tell us this. We have to realize that this is my community, this is my fraternity, and if I think this is brotherhood, and if I feel that this is what it is, then I should put in my time, some time in a week, to the service of community. And there are many people. I'm not saying I'm the only one who's doing it. There are many people in many walks of life, in many parts, in manning agencies, in ship management, in stevedoring, in port management, in pilotage, like I said recently about Reshma. She's very much involved in safety of pilots and things like that. And there are many pilots also, who are involved in this. And that makes us happy. At least somebody has to be a catalyst and agitate this sentiment into maritime community that we belong to a society and we must give our time to society.
Yes, sir.
That was the AIMPA's, forming grounds, so as to say.
Yes, sir. So we covered the AIMPA's plan and motto, and how AIMPA achieves to change and reform the Indian pilotage system. So next, I would like to ask you about the AIMPA journal, which has already lots of volumes have already come out. So where is this? Can the viewers, the audience, can access the AIMPA journal, as well as how many AIMPA journals have come out yet, sir?
See, AIMPA journal, when we thought about it, it was of course, a few pilots and myself, we thought about it. And we said that we must come out with the AIMPA journal, and it was in March 2019, I believe, first the thought came in the mind, and and we said that we must have a kind of a literature, kind of a magazine running out to share the knowledge across the pilotage in India, because we saw there, other than the foreign writers' books, there is nothing. There's nothing on pilotage anywhere. There's nothing periodical coming out. There is no sharing of knowledge. There are so many experienced pilots who are retired now in India, and they are really, I'm telling you, those pilots are really hats off to them. If I ever meet them, I would really bow down, touch their feet, because they have done the service which is training pilots, training young pilots, which is enormous, which is unparalleled. But that somehow that has to be documented somewhere. Somewhere the knowledge bank has to be created into maritime. And as we started the activism from pilot ladders, safety of pilot ladders, talking to administration, talking to MOUs, international bodies, talking to governments, in fact, including MPAs and things like that, when I spoke to them. So when it all was happening at one side, I said there has to be a structured knowledge sharing exercise should happen in this community. And this is how initially the pilot journal thought came out. How to do was the issue. So, Vivek Bhandarkar, Captain Vivek Bhandarkar, who also is holds a, legacy of his father, into a Bhandarkar Publications. I requested them. And at the spur of the moment, he came out and said, yes, we should do it. And I'm very happy to, have this formulated if you have the articles with you. And then by the time, we had gathered some, international pilots with us. We requested them to write some articles. Some of the Indian pilots also came forthwith, in writing some articles. And this is how we could put the journal together. First journal, which came in 15th August 2020, was inaugurated by, the then chairman of Mumbai Port, Sanjay Bhatia, and I wanted a port chairman to inaugurate this because port chairman holds the entire port ecosystem. And Sanjay Bhatia was very kind enough to do that without a hesitation, because he saw a purpose. There is not a single advertisement. There is no money motto behind the journal. And that first journal came out to be of 45 pages. And then we decided, oh my goodness, this is a too long a volume. And a lot of people applauded it, a lot of people appreciated it. I received so many phone calls and so many mails from our official Gmail ID that a lot of people wrote and said that this is absolutely great stuff. And this was a journal of its own kind in India. This was basically a first journal in maritime pilotage. So that had a different, zeal of it. Internationally also, I had a lot of aspirations of reaching this to IMO, and of course our November edition was seen by IMO General Secretary himself, and was really appreciated. So idea was to create a knowledge bank. Idea was to create somewhere digitally form. So we did not print any AIMPA for environmental concern. We did not print any, because printing and distribution cost money, definitely. So if we can create the knowledge without that, and a lot of writers, worldwide writers, they contributed to it. And now February volume is the 9th volume, which will come out of AIMPA. So it is going to be closing the first year soon. So I'm very happy that the fraternity supported it. People are waiting for the AIMPA channel to come out. It comes out every 15th of every month. So it is absolutely interesting. I found it very stimulating to start AIMPA journal, start AIMPA as organization. It doesn't pay me anything, but it pays me satisfaction. And it pays importantly, very importantly, it pays a hoot to my oath that no pilot will die or when AIMPA is existing. I would not let it happen. Recently, we had 4 accidents of pilots. One of them was, Reshma falling off the pilot ladder. Mumbai pilot fell down from pilot ladder. Another pilot refused boarding. There have been incidences happening, but we ensured that we went back to the port. We went back to every person who was involved in the administration and told him, please handle the situation very carefully. We don't want this to happen again, somehow. And we've been lucky so far. I mean, fingers crossed, nobody is yet very badly hurt. Of course, there are some injuries as well, So that's the AIMPA journal all about.
All right, sir. Congratulations, sir, for the ninth edition. I've seen the journal, lots of pilots, lots of writers, and ad-free, no ads. And they share their experience. Some of them share their personal accidents and ship handling skills. It is a very, very informative journal.
Absolutely. I tell you, that's what I always say. Pilotage is a very complex, act. It is no more a art. It is absolutely a science. And each pilot needs to learn that science first, and then experience and develop an art. There are people who have spent, for example, I can take names also, but people have spent their 5-6 years of youth learning pilotage. So that is a huge devotion. It is not easy. So it's art, but it's a science more, and it's also expertise gained by the experience and practice. So we got to be very cautious, and there are various elements of pilotage. Situational awareness is one of them. Human factor is another of them. Where the navigation aids is another one. The channels, the safety of port, harbor front matters. And it's not only pilot who is doing it, it's the entire ecosystem of port, traffic managers, marine department, mooring masters, mooring managers, dock masters, harbor masters. They all cohesively should be one team, which is the front runner of the team is the pilot who goes on board.
Yes, sir.
That should be the thought process of us. And I believe one fine day will come when everybody will know about the pilots in India. And everybody will, the respect which is given today to the army officer, air force officer, and a navy officer in, even in restaurants, we see them, we look up to them with the pride. Oh, he is the man. He is the Air Force pilot. He's the Indian Navy captain. Or even the merchant navy captains and merchant navy officers are given that respect. I want society to recognize my next door neighbor is a pilot. My next door building, people living in my next door building are the maritime pilots who works in the port. They should not be thought about just they are the port workers or port officials. There is a particular designation of being a pilot, A pilot is a director. That kind of status I want to bring it. Let's see. I hope for the best and community support on this.
Yes, sir. Okay. Next, coming to the pilot boarding arrangements, many of us are mariners, active mariners, and the young guys, cadets, GP ratings who will be involved in pilot boarding arrangement rigging. So a lot of accidents have been taking place because of the improper rigging of pilot ladders, pilot boarding arrangement. Also on the Facebook, if you see the dangerous ladders, the page beautifully made, and lots of pictures. Like I recently made the video on the correct boarding arrangement without the use of the D-shackles, and that was almost been a month now. But still, I see on the Facebook, I see still many of the pilots uploading pictures of the ships which has a really awkward kind of boarding, totally unsafe kind of boarding arrangements. So, any reasons why the ships or the shipping companies or the guys are still following the unsafe method of preparing the pilot ladder?
See, we have to see the two parts of it. We have 95,000 plus vessels in the world. So there are 95,000 vessels have 95,000 ladders, being rigged every time, look at the span of it, look at the nationalities involved, look at the kind of, a broad horizon. Pilot ladder, I mean, if I just browsed through our entire history, they always have had a issue with the pilot ladder. I mean, that kind of interface, that kind of boarding has always been dangerous. But recently, the increase of accidents has happened because the so-called, training on board has somehow suffered a lot. The short of manning and short of, manpower structures on board vessel. We have removed the bosun, so there is no mentoring, training happening. Somehow, from 2012 onwards, the pilot ladders were supplied from ashore, so it became a shore equipment more than a ship equipment. So when I was cadet, we used to make the pilot ladder on board, and I remember on my first ship, on a very first voyage, the long voyage from Indonesia to Norway, and I was put on with the crew to make a pilot ladder. I didn't know what is the pilot ladder, or P starts from P or B. So, but then I saw something. I took part in something which was being done by 4 or 5 people for 3 days religiously, with somebody checking, somebody shouting, somebody screaming and not doing. So I found that the equipment which is there was very important. When we reached Norway and somebody climbed over it, then I realized, oh my God, this is what the equipment is, because it holds life. Another important thing is that when pilot boards the vessel, he can't really see whether pilot ladder is compliant, non-compliant. He might see whatever he can see, 3, 4, 5 meters, 6 meters. He has to use binoculars from down below to see what is happening on top. How it is secured on deck, nobody knows. So he has enormous trust into the crew, and that enormous trust brings him, to climb the ladder. And if that trust is broken every time, he has an accident, or he has a fall, or he's a slip and trip, and he sees that there are some gross violations, of rigging a pilot ladder, then he's heartbroken. It works on human factors, and it could be very dangerous for the safety of navigation of port. So we came to a conclusion in AIMPA that, of course, dangerous ladders is a fantastic, Harry Palmer is doing a great job bringing these issues up. This is a very awareness drive, and he would not stop, given his enthusiasm and drive that he has. He wouldn't stop, and people like Kevin Valence and, even other people who are contributing to the dangerous pilot, they're creating awareness among the pilots. But I'm telling you, most of the pilots also don't know what are the right things and wrong things in pilot ladder. This is how they land up climbing a wrong pilot ladder also. So what did AIMPA do about it? I mean, this would be an obvious question. So when we came out with AIMPA journal, then we decided that there are so many issues on pilot ladder. Who's taking these issues to the end user? Who's the end user? End securer is the crew on board. If a pilot boards a vessel and pilot sees the pilot ladder is tied wrongly, he can probably call those 5-6 crew and train them. On 95,000 vessels, we got, something like, 200, 300,000 crew on board. I mean, only the deck crew I'm talking about, the people involved in pilot ladder. 3-4 crew per ship are involved in tying a pilot ladder. So to teach them, you require so many pilot boardings and so many dangerous pilot boardings. So we decided, why don't we, with the pilot's help, let pilot do the training of the Maritime Training Institutes. We went to 10 institutes in India and requested them, can we hold 45 minutes, 1 hour class in your MTI and teach your cadets, teach your, the ratings about tying up the pilot ladder. I mean, we started with MASA, and MASA was very generous to offer us the space. And of course, it is a leverage we use. When we did it in MASA, we did it in other institutes also. We did it in ARI, we did it in AMET, we did it in HIMT, we did it in everywhere. We did it in MTI, Power, in HCI. So all those guys came on board and said, yes, you do it in our institute as well. We did it in private institutes, we did it in government institutes. And this is only to bring in awareness about how to tie pilot ladder. A lot of people have come back and told me that they did not know most of the things. Even pilots have come back and said that they don't know these were things. I mean, somebody who's pilot for 25 years has come and confessed himself, as if I'm a father and he is confessing to me, saying that I really didn't know that these are the wrong things, and I've been seeing this for years, and I've been climbing up and saying this is the only way. See, the work innovations will always take place. People will always find easier things to do, easier things to tie up and things like that. Somebody has to be there telling them, masters are so busy today, chief officers are not so much interested in mentoring the crew on board. So the training is the major part of it. Basically, it is only rope and wood and rope kind of a, mechanism. There's nothing great about it. But it holds life. It holds life between life and death.
Exactly, sir.
That is what it is. That is what the people should understand. We took it to the ASM classes, we took it to the mates, phase 2 classes and explained them the consequences of it. And they all realized. And 2,000 students pan-India, we taught them this kind of, correctness of tying pilot ladder. And I was very sure about it that 2,000 ships will be at least safe going forward. That's what the pilots contributed.
And we should also not forget the crew change that takes place using the same pilot ladder.
Yeah, I mean, again, I said same thing. It is not only pilot whose life is at risk. It is a signing on, signing off crew. It is a harbour master which boards. It is probably a port officials which board. It is class surveyors which board. So in some of the cases, we went to class with DNV, with ABB. You name a class and we went to them. We tweeted them. We tried to name and shame them. Say that you just did an annual survey. Why didn't you check the pilot ladder? No, why it was not checked? It is supposed to be a part of the safety equipment survey form E. Why it is not been checked? Somebody had to ask this question. We don't want to go and bang their door and ask a question. Somebody has to be brutally honest, have an earnest interest of saving pilots' life at heart, and go and ask them why this is not being checked by a class surveyor properly and certified. And when it is not correct, that ship told to buy a new ladder. We went to shipping companies. We did some 5 shipping companies a training session for the joining crew. And it was hugely applauded. I'm telling you, if we are going to start again now in month of March, the training, because the new batches have already started in all institutes, and we are going to start again the training of every week one institute training. And pilot ladder is a life safety of life issue. That's why we're trying to take that. But there are many other issues like master pilot exchange, BRM, BTMs. The entire cohesivity of the pilotage operation, passage planning. All those things need to be discussed and taught them from a pilotage perspective. Taught them from the pilot's perspective. Then only the team will form. Today pilot is still seen as an outsider on the bridge team. You've been a master, I have been a master. We always see the pilot, okay, personally as a master, I always been very, very friendly with any pilot in the world. And I always have had, their phone numbers with me and, been in touch with most of them till now on emails and things like that. But most of the pilots, there's a lot of communication gap, a lot of language barrier, cultural barriers between the pilot and master. You open any accident which has happened with the pilot on board, the communication has come up as a major issue. The miscommunication has come up as a thing. Why we are not able to communicate? So BTM was one of the very formative tool, stream management, and now Australia is of course leading the full flag, saying that they are into BTM third generation and with everything else. And so the pilots also need to be trained in this aspect.
Yes, sir. So Australia, we spoke to Captain Ravi Nijjar, and that session was very fruitful. He talked a lot about Australia pilotage reforms, BTM third generation, and the AMPT, and also the the manned model course, which I believe we need to work on those as well to reform our Indian pilotage system.
Absolutely, pilot training has its own virtue, and earlier we understand it's better. We have had the conventional training of pilots. Any pilot, tomorrow you want to join as a pilot, or somebody one of our viewers want to join as a pilot in the port, they'll be trained as per the port norms. They'll be recruited as per the rules of recruitment of Government of India into the major port, and they'll be trained for till the time you get the confidence and till the time you get the kind of expertise you develop to handle the ship on your own. So, But having said that, there has to be a structured training program for pilots, which is very, very important. Which is not only about maneuvering, it is not about only ship handling. It has got various other aspects. Pilot needs to have a soft skill of being a part of a bridge team. And then with the end result in mind of being accepted into a bridge team by the bridge team itself. So he cannot be outsider commanding a bridge team. He cannot be on the pilot's advice. That's why we say it's con to pilot. The control of navigation is given to pilot. Conduct of navigation is with the pilot. Pilot conducts the navigation of the vessel. Because he is a local expert, he has local knowledge, he is employed by the money. Pilot is a very funny position if you see. He is employed by the ship owner, but his employer is port. So in public interest, if you see legality of pilotage, in public interest, he is an employee of the port. Port employs him. For what? For safety of navigation in port, safety of environment, safety of port infrastructure, and the most important part is national security. He is the first one to board the vessel. So when he boards the vessel, he is the eyes and ears of government. He needs that dignity to be given to him. He sees something wrong with the vessel, he doesn't bring the vessel inside, irrespective of commercial obligations. He says, sorry sir, I cannot bring this vessel inside, something is wrong here. When you see a suspicious movement. That kind of national security, disaster management training needs to be given to pilot. Pilot needs to be elevated to that position in port management ecosystem where pilots are then, as good as, handling the entire, maybe one ship, but the entire safety of navigation in their hand. You see the Haldia River, the ships travel in convoy. Just think if one of the pilot is mentally disturbed and not able to do his duty properly and gets the ground or hits somebody else. There have been accidents like this. There have been accidents where the pilots have gone and hit the barges, pilots have gone and hit the structures. What will happen to those ships behind? So these kind of, contingency training, structured training must be given. And I think we grossly lack in that. We're still on a conventional board. Pilots need to exhibit, skill-based, rule-based, knowledge-based kind of, exhibit that knowledge, exhibit that kind of decision-making that they do. They need to exhibit their skills every 5 years. There are visual pilotage, pilotage at night, pilotage by radar, pilotage in low visibility, that is by radar. And there is a pilotage by personal pilotage units. Pilotage units. So they're very, very important. I mean, these kind of skills are very, airline pilots, you see. Why are we so concerned about airline pilots? Because airline pilots hovers over a sea, over a city. If that aircraft falls down, how many people will die? So same thing, that's why, Ravi Nijjar, sir, I mean, he's my mentor also and guru also. He taught me very, very clearly few concepts which have really formed very idea of, harbor fund matters and, on safety of navigation and about the AIMPA's future course of action in my head very clearly. That the merchant shipping incidents are of low frequency, but very high impact. That's why they're neglected as well. General public is not involved. People living to the coast also, living in the outside the port also will not be involved. One vessel is coming of 300,000 ton VLCC tanker into the port. Or one huge vessel, 12,000 TEU is coming into the container ship coming into the port. Do you think any citizen of the staying close to the port is bothered? He doesn't even look at it. He doesn't even see the danger. But that thing, that the entire momentum, the energy which is coming in, it is in hand of a very competent pilot. And that pilot, if the competency is shaken up, his confidence is shaken up, what will happen? There have been many accidents like this has happened. So that's why the pilot, we have to be very serious about their training. And there are assets, we must train them, teach them, and treat them as such. Then only things will happen.
Yes, sir. So last question. What role our DG Shipping and the Ministry of Shipping can play to ensure the safety and security of pilots in collaboration with AIMPA, sir?
Of course, I mean, the ministry is the custodian of the, all maritime issues in India. and of course DG Shipping is a technical arm of theirs. So we've been in dialogue with them with respect to various reforms which are required for pilotage. AIMPA initially embarked on a mission to start, the entire reforms, revamping of or reconceptualizing the pilotage with respect to their recruitment or retirement kind of a horizon. But then I thought it is a very bigger, this thing than I can chew. So we fragmented into, the low-hanging fruits of pilot ladder. Now we are looking at pilot training. Now we are looking at, basically solidarizing the pilotage community together, the masters, and things like that. So definitely, we have a lot of support of ministry, and, we've not been criticized what we do because everybody, I'm very thankful to them as well as the community and fraternity that they believe that we are doing the right thing. Recently, about 10 days back, I had to, so one of the pilots called me in one of the ports, and he had some issue with the with the port administration. He called me and told me, can you help me? That kind of confidence I want to generate. Even when I was superintendent in company, I used to always think that master should call me, if he has a problem at home. Sir, I have a problem in my house, and can you help me? That is the relationship a superintendent must develop with the master. And that is a team. And I'm happy that we have come in last 15 months of our work, that pilots are calling us and telling us, I had this problem. When Reshma had a accident, I was the first one she called. And I was very happy about it. I was very disturbed also. But I was very happy about it. The way we then moved the entire port machinery and, called. Of course, I received a lot of criticism from the port that time. Why are you calling us and what is happening? And we are taking care of it and all that. But I said, fine, yeah, it's okay. You can scold me. Never mind. But save her life. Attend to her. That is very important. So there is some buffer, some shock absorber required. And AIMPA looks at being that. AIMPA looks at being that kind of. So when pilot will tomorrow call me, I have a problem. One of the pilots recently committed suicide. I wish that pilot would have called me before committing suicide. But I regret it. Those 2 days I kept, really I was very disturbed because that pilot didn't call me. And I'm really, whenever there is if I briefly hear about the issue with the pilot, I immediately call them up and ask them, what is the issue? Can I help you? Personal capacity, professional capacity, tell me. Never mind, I will get some bashing from administration, port administration also, but I will take it for the sake of you. Because somebody is required to hold their hand. And I am merely doing my social work. I am not bragging to be a president of the organization or something like that. These are all, kind of ranks. And these ranks don't give you range. If you want a range in life, you have to forget your ranks, forget designations, and be a very normal human being.
Yes, sir.
That's my take.
Yes, sir. It's well said, sir. So last, we will talk about our show, Pilot Talks, Pilot Ki Baat. So we already completed our first episode, and the second part will be uploaded. It will be uploaded on 21st, and it's available on all the AIMPA platforms, the YouTube channel, the Instagram page. So I'll be sharing the description in our recording, sir, on the IGTV as well as on my YouTube channel as well. So anything more you want to say, sir, about this Pilot Talks, Pilot
Absolutely, about the Pilot Ki Baat also, like we saw when we came out the first issue, 45 pages, next issue 32 pages. Then we decided that we will not have issues more than 20 pages. Because then we realized that people were not even reading 20 pages. They don't have time to read 20 pages. Nobody reads these days. There's another subject and another agitation is required for that. Start from home. Then that's why this mind, that Modi ji's Man Ki Baat has come, so well, and he's been doing consistently. See, consistency is the game. We could start a gold mine and can shut down in 2 days' time is of no use. Even if you start an iron ore mine and keep it on for 10 years, it will add a lot of value. So Pilot Ki Baat came into the mind, and you are a gold find guy to handle that show. And I can't looking at myself doing everything. It is not about me. Again, it is about the subject matter. And subject matter in this issue is a pilot. So then we contacted some 20 people in the world and told them, can you be a part of this show? Everybody said yes. Everybody, I mean, we have next 2 weeks enough of material to shoot, enough of people to shoot. You know, why I'm telling this on this platform, because I mean, this will be watched by many people later on also. I mean, there are not many live people at the moment, but pilot ki baat is the next percolation of the pilot issues, bringing awareness to the pilotage and pilot, the act and the person who does the act, about them, to the even a third party person, general public, common man, whatever you call it, it should go to them.
Yes, sir.
That is
Yes,
the
sir.
idea of pilot ki baat.
That is true. Being a mariner for 15 years, the relationship that we had, and even the young guys, like we don't have much views, because they'll definitely watch this video later, because they don't realize the relationship that we think we have with the pilot is, when we have pilot on board and when pilot is away. But we do not consider that safety aspect, that when he is coming to board the vessel, he keeps a blind trust on the vessel that he has secured the pilot ladder properly, the boarding arrangement is properly. That's the trust that he imparts onto the vessels, and indirectly it comes to the crew. And even after I uploaded the video, there were a few nasty comments that saying that why this, why not that. So that means still after watching the video also, they still fail to understand the importance of why the pilot boarding arrangement has to be proper, secured. So your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. No. See, pilot ladder securing is very important, and again, AIMPA will again start the training sessions with the MTIs, also with the shipping companies and things like that. So only my worry is that the amount of the participation from the pilot community is also very less with this exercise. I mean, I have about 4-5 pilots who do this training. Others have said that they will not do this training. I don't know why. But it is their life and they don't want to take care of it. So that somehow makes me a little angry. But fine, I mean, at least, we should go ahead with whatever we have in hand, then complain about the, other parts of life and colleagues. So, yes, so pilot ladder securing is, I mean, as you rightly said, the new people are coming, new recruitments are happening. Even at the institute level, it is taught wrongly. 2 of the institutes we saw. I mean, even the trainers in institutes don't know about pilot ladder looking up and all that. There are also some flaws in IMO posters. SOLAS regulation, 23 of chapter 5 doesn't specify to which kind of fish to be used, things like that. There are some innovations like trap doors coming out,
Yes, sir.
So these kind of things will happen. So this movement of what Ari Palmas does always is very important. Why? I mean, he could share once in a month photograph and go to sleep. Why does he have to do every week? Why does he have to do really, really be at it? Because there are new people watching, new people are trying to invent new ways. Today there's a bar, there's a D-shackle, there is a, duck deck tongue, and there is a, other methods of securing. Tomorrow something else will come. Tomorrow something new will come. If you don't talk about it, that will go on. So somebody, and the community has to be at it. I like one of the sentences of Ari Palmas always says, is it too much to ask for a person to go for a work and come back home safely? Is it too much to ask for? It is a normal thing. Every landlubber goes to the office every day and comes back home safely after eating his tiffin or lunch box in his office. And his family is assured, rest assured, he'll come back home. Pilot family is not. Pilot family has to really hold the hand on the heart and say, I hope he comes back, and pilot ladder is okay. I've seen many pilots, reporting. I've established contact with some 22 pilots. When they go on board, they send me a message, a WhatsApp message, all okay, boarded, all okay, disembark, all okay, boarded, all okay, disembark. And I have to really look at the screen and look for the message like that. Is it okay or not? If not okay, I have to call them. What happened? No message came today. No, I was a little busy with the maneuvering. Fine, okay, fine, no issues. But send the message. Send it to somebody. Send it to your home. Never mind. Don't have to send it to me. But inform somebody everything is okay. That's your anchor assure. That's somebody who's caring for you assure. That's very important.
So through that small video, I happen to be a part of AIMPA, involved in this pilot talks, pilot ki baat. And I'm really honored. It would be my privilege to continue working for AIMPA, and it has changed me a lot. It has changed my thought process. And now when I am on board and I see a pilot coming, I'll make sure my pilot boarding arrangement is perfectly. And he comes and he takes a photo and he says a good practice. It doesn't put
Right.
it in a negative
Right.
way. So that's what I
Yeah, yeah.
will ensure the people 22, 23 people they learn the right way. And then when they go on board, like the chain multiply chain.
I would suggest a very innovative out of box way, saying that include a pilot ladder rigging training for the crew. When you have more than 4 deck crews joining, please call them all together, tell chief officer, call them all together and tell them how will you rig this pilot ladder? How will you care and maintain the pilot ladder? How will you
Yes.
not wash the pilot ladder with deck wash and chemicals that you spray on deck to remove the oil and remove the dirt? How do you secure the pilot ladder with the canvas cover or put it in the mast house or respective place covered into this voyage when you go to sea? Why it should
Yes.
not be kept in the sun? Why it should not be painted? Why it should be inspected regularly every month? So AIMPA is now being a part of PTR Holland's record book, and we have given our comments and said that please put this. You can put our logo. This has been vetted by AIMPA, been approved by AIMPA. Whatever you want to say, as long as we want that record book of pilot ladder to go on each ship, irrespective of class, flag, nationality, and culture of the crew, and every chief officer must check whether, as for that, the pilot ladder is proper or not. It should be done because it is handling life. We forget that because it is very infrequently used. Only used in the port arrival, port departure, and then next port arrival, next port departure. On bulk carrier, the voyage is 40 days. That means 1.5 month pilot ladder is not even looked at. It doesn't become a part of anybody else's. You've seen that 4-piece store fire extinguisher, nobody looks at it. Unless the captain one day tells his officer, Gary, go and have a look at it. When did you last clean it? At least remove the dust from it. Pilot ladder becomes that kind of object, which is, in the corners, lying in the corner, and nobody looks at it. That shouldn't happen.
True.
There has to be a mandatory. We cannot wait everything the SOLAS to bring it, and IMO to bring it, and IMPA to bring it, and AIMPA to bring it. We have to have our cautious and always have a dynamic thinking and change the practices away from SMSs. SMSs are only guidelines. Safety management systems are only guidelines. We have to go beyond that and say, yes, I think we are having a problem with this. Let us do this from henceforth. Let us have a pilot ladder rigging up drill. But there's a life at stake there. So unless you have this kind of, this thing, it will not happen.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it has to come from the heart of the mariner. It has to come from the involvement of master chief officer. I'm telling you, I used to have every Saturday a drill on board. My drill on Saturday never missed. If she was at the anchorage and this thing, people would give me a lot of galis and say, kya captain hai, kya master hai. I used to say, never mind. But I used to have competitions. I used to have blindfold competitions. I used to have a, fireman-led competition. Give them a case of Coke, team A, team B. So you have to make it interesting. That's the master's job.
Mm.
You have to make interesting training and say that we will do this training, which is not in the official logbook is fine, it is not in the SMS is fine, never mind, but this handles life and I will do it.
Yes, sir.
I hope, if you do this, you will set an example to your chief officers and they will say, mera master aise karta tha, I will do it.
Yes, sir, yeah, definitely. I do have plans. I'm waiting to go on board and make a good pilot.
Do send us your first-hand information, first-hand report, your initiatives that you've taken, and we will publish them in AIMPA. It will set an example for other people. Here, so-and-so master went on board and did this with the pilot ladder and pilot boarding arrangements. He took care of this like this. He fought with the company. I want master to fight with the company and say, sir, this is not good ladder. Pilot has come last port, but no, next port he may not come. His wife is waiting at home, he has to go back home. Her husband is waiting at home, she has to go home. When we treat pilots with this kind of respect, or any boarder for that matter, and master's job is that to identify potential hazards. Somehow we have got involved into paperwork and communication and email and all those things and forgotten about the identification of potential hazard, preempting situation, application of mind on board vessel, bird's eye view, all these qualities of master himself, master has forgotten and leader has forgotten. So these things will definitely happen.
Yes, sir.
You will set an example. I'm telling you, you can call me anytime if you have a doubt on this thing, and I would be not you. I'm telling everyone. I mean, I can take an empty number of calls apart from my professional life. I've done that before with everybody, and there's nothing. I can keep talking about till the end of my last breath to advise and mentor people.
I did ask two of my sailing masters, good friends. So I did tell them, make sure your pilot boarding arrangement is good, and if possible, make a small video and send me. I will ask you to publish it on the AIMPA page.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Instagram page is now very active. Thanks, very much. And, there are a lot of followers there now. It should happen, but the social media has to be used very effectively to percolate the information. This is a communication medium. People may put, something else also into it, and this irresponsible things also are happening, but we shouldn't talk about it negatively. It is a good communication system, and we should use it for the best of it.
Yes, sir.
So that's what it is,
That's what our show is about, and we have plans to interview lots of prominent and eminent people all over the maritime industry, and we will be conducting interviews, speaking to them, and again, our videos will be as of now, we plan to post 2 videos, and again, those videos will be available on the AIMPA YouTube channel, AIMPA Instagram page, AIMPA Twitter, and also my videos, my Instagram and my YouTube as well. So, thank you again, sir.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure I would have had more viewers. And please percolate this video everywhere, and we will also share it on AIMPA's Twitter. If you can, I don't know if you can download this video somehow and create a.
I'll be uploading this video on the YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Also
so,
on the
I hope it goes to maximum people, and not for. I'm interested in people hearing my voice or my thought process, but idea is that they should, get that word pilot and pilot safety hammered onto their head.
Right.
The very, very prominent master always says that teacher hasn't taught unless the students have learned.
Yes, sir.
So unless we are not successful if we don't create the awareness as a society, as an organization, into the community, into the fraternity, also into common public about the pilot and pilot safety. And we are failures. We don't succeed. So I'll be very happy to have this video everywhere. Thank you very much, Vijay. Thanks for your enormous efforts, and I really thank your family that they're giving you so much of time to really do this work. And really, I will definitely see you in one of these days when I'm passing.
Yes, sir, definitely we'll catch up someday. And yes, my family, yes, especially my wife with a newborn baby. I cannot. She really is like supporting me because the sessions we need the quietness and all that. So she helps me out a lot.
I'm very thankful to her. She is doing a great community service than all of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
I will see you on our next episode of Pilot Talks, Pilot Ki Baat.
Yes. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.
Okay,
be well. Stay safe. Corona is still around. दवाई नहीं, ढिलाई नहीं, है ना? ये सब होना चाहिए. And we are the frontline workers as mariners. We should take pride in this. That we follow the instructions properly. That's how it should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, sir.